your source for everything paranormal. Para-X. The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Para-X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
Supernatural. Magic. Ghosts. UFOs. Bigfoot. Extraterrestrial. Psychic energy.
The Calling.
And good evening, everyone. This is Jerry with The Calling, and another beautiful Wednesday. It was like a perfect day out. It was great. Not bad at all. Anyway, Kimberly is not going to be on tonight. It's a bummer, because I always like to have my Kimberly Juarez with me. That was not sexy. But instead, we have the guest for tonight, which is our own Valentina Lomborg Wiley. Mrs. V, how you doing?
Hello, everyone. Hi. Good to be back.
It's good to have you back, too. It's been a while since you've been on the show.
Yes. Long time.
When did you get out of jail from the last time? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You had me thinking. I was like, when did I get released? We'll call it the COVID jail. How about that one? Yeah.
Oh, the COVID jail. That's right. Yeah.
I went to COVID jail for several months. I made bail, though.
That's good. So now Kimberly's not here, which is a real bummer. Because I know she was looking forward to the show, and but we're gonna wing it pretty good, right, kid?
Yes.
Excellent. Now, some of the stuff that I had put down in the advertisement that we're going to talk about, energy vampires. What exactly is your what's an energy vampire to you?
Oh my God. So the best way, and it's funny because I don't know if anyone's seen that TV show, What We Do in the Shadows. It now became like a regular TV show from the movie. And these vampires actually live with this regular civilian who's the energy vampire. And all he does is just stand there and talk about boring stuff. I feel like anytime anybody talks about trivial things and makes you kind of have to focus and think, that to me drains me because it's energy, it's energy being pulled. So I think people emotionally, anyone that calls me is like, V, oh my God, this happened, everything. With every bad thing that they mention, it's just I feel my vibration lowering, and my energy to pay so much attention and focus is what I think the drain is. So anybody that has a lot of woe is me problems or, just flat out goes on and on and on about something is an energy vampire.
Gotcha. Now, energy vampires can also be like an entity, correct? That on the non-human side, absolutely. There's entities that are, whether it's shadow people, ghosts, lower vibration entities, all of that can also drain you. But that's not more. I think energy vampire in the sense is more it's just more in the human sense, in the realm of just regular people. I think it's very obvious that other entities drain naturally. So I feel like the term's carried over more now to also meaning humans that tend to just drain us. Gotcha. Okay. Also, too, I just got a question in from someone. They said, where have they heard of you before? And I was like, she's been in like 20 films. And a couple of them was when you did The Ghost Girl, right? Out in California. This person is actually out in California, and they know your name, and it just came up that you were Ghost Girl.
Yeah. I mean, I was pitching a show called Ghost Girl. I've obviously done a lot of work on MTV, VH1, a lot of movies and TV shows. So, I mean, I don't know, I wouldn't say I'm famous in LA, but I'm sure a lot of people know my name in a good sense, of course.
Right. You were in a show called Share the Scare?
Share Your Scare. It's on Amazon Prime. Yeah.
Okay. And you did Night at the Roxbury?
Yeah, I'm all over that one in the opening scene. I've done Dumb and Dumber, worked with Jim Carrey a lot. I've done quite a bit.
And Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in Living Color. And my God.
Are you on my IM?
Yes, I am. Because they got me interested when they asked that question. You actually, you admit that you were in the movie Dude, Where's My Car?
Where's my car? I know. That was the weirdest movie. I'm at the end. It's actually on the DVD. It may be when the credits are rolling, but there's a pool scene, and the guys are having a pool party, and there's all these girls over, and I'm one of the girls in the bikini as usual. So, yeah. Actually, I ended up buying that DVD on Amazon just so I could freeze it and watch myself. I'm like, oh, there I am. The credits are rolling by, but there's my part.
Oh my gosh.
Not always like that, thank God. But
you also did Batman and Robin.
I was a waitress. It's a small scene where Poison Ivy comes in, and Arnold Schwarzenegger was there as Mr. Freeze, and everybody skated. That was the biggest scene. There was so much going on all at once. I was on that for 2 weeks.
Right.
It was like a lot of work for that little scene.
Wow.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is very short.
Well, still, it's very impressive. I only have one on mine. On my IMDb, yeah. Well, that's really cool. I mean, I guess I was quite surprised when. What's that?
I thought you knew.
No, I didn't know you were on that many of them. It's crazy. Oh, Steffi's saying hello to you and Sarge and everybody.
I'm just doing that now to her too.
So
there. Look at me getting proficient in my chatting.
So when it comes to energy vampires, yes. Do you live in Florida? You were living in California. Which place do you felt had the most of the energy vampires?
It's funny. It's a good question because in Los Angeles, people are so freaking busy that they really have no time for you. So they leave you alone quite a bit. I find more drainage living in Florida because somehow everyone feels the need. I'll be at the grocery store and everyone feels the need to come up and talk to me, or just out of the blue will just tell me their whole life story and everything that's going wrong. And I'm thinking, I look at my shirt. Is there something that said, let me ask you about your life? Because I don't remember asking. It's just crazy. And people just tell me all the time, I feel so comfortable. I never tell people this, but blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I never asked you. And I'm trying not to be rude, but it's just like, I'm thinking time is of the essence, and these people take my time up. They just stand. I'm always in a rush. Whenever I'm out, if I ever get out of the house, I'm in a super rush. I have a million things to do. So I find here, and it's kind of become that I have to be a little bit rude and cut them short, or, tell them I have to go. And I feel bad being rude, but I don't think these people even know they're doing it.
I'll be darned. Well, I mean, you're the energy you give off just talking to you and stuff like that is pretty immense. So I can see why people, they probably don't even know you, and it's like they just pick it up because you're a pretty high energy person.
I know, and I think that. So, I mean, the good thing about being so high energy is that even if people, like I'm at 1,000% wattage, so if somebody takes 50 or 100, I still have a lot, so I don't really fully get drained. I just notice when people start lowering my levels, then it's time to just sort of retreat home.
Right. Now, curious. So, like, you do a lot of readings for people and stuff like that, and a lot of group things. When you go out to places to do this, is there any time that stood out where the energy vampire was there that pretty much sucked the life out of you, or was sucking the life out of people around, and you noticed it? And did you ever have that chance to correct it, to steer them away from that person?
Not so much, because everyone is usually in a happy mood. The only time it could be a little dangerous is it's inevitable because I go to parties, so everyone is drinking, and usually I don't like to read people that are drinking or drunk. And I was hired for one party. It was supposed to be 3 hours. It ended up going 8 hours. They want me to read everybody at the party, and I said, okay, I'll stay. I left at like 1 a.m. I was so exhausted that by the time I got into the house, Matt, my husband, I'm just standing there. I said, you're going to have to help me walk up the stairs, close the door to my car. I can't even, I was just drained. And after that, I said, you know what, I have to make a rule, 4 or 5 hours, that's it. I'm sorry, no more than that. I mean, I've never gone, I read everybody at the party, and everyone was doing shots. They were drunk, they were boisterous. And I was like, I can't do this to myself. This was just so draining. Just because of the energy, I think, I don't know if it's because I connect with these drunk people and they start pulling me down, but it depleted me a lot quicker than when I'm with sober people. It's a give and take. When I'm sober people, it's usually they feed off of me, I feed off of them. But for some reason, people that are drinking or inebriated seem to lower it 10 times faster. It's weird. So definitely a lesson learned. I wanted to make everyone happy and the host happy, but I was because normally I leave parties super energized and hyper, and it takes me a while to go to sleep. But this was the first time I was the opposite, and I realized, wow, this was hardcore, really tiring.
Yeah, I suppose. I could see you actually going outside and screaming to the tops of your voice and get some of that bad energy out and get the moonlight to let some good energy in.
Yeah, and I used to always take a bath or shower after my readings because that was just my way to salt and cleanse with the salt bath. And when I'm too tired even to shower or brush my teeth, then I just plop in the bed with my clothes on. That there's a problem because, I'm really big on hygiene. So for me, just to not even bother with my teeth or anything, I just realized at that point, I think that was way too much. I just went above and beyond for people, and it was just too much.
Now, do you let people know? What's that?
Lesson learned, of course.
Lesson learned. No, do you let people know now that you're only going to do a certain amount of time, or?
Yeah, in that night, I read 32 people.
Oh my God.
Exactly. At most, I take between 7 to 16 people a week at my house, or wherever via Skype. And so 32 in one day was pretty crazy. And so now I even have a new rule that a few days before a psyche party, I won't even do readings because I'll conserve the energy. I won't do readings several days after a party just so I can conserve my energy as well, or at least rebuild it. So I've learned to become kinder to myself.
Right. Wow, that's incredible. Dang. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's go to the second one then. What is your feelings of cemeteries?
Oh yeah. Well, So before I started doing, when I was about 19 and I lived in Santa Cruz, I would be wandering around, graveyards and stuff, because I found some cool old ones in Santa Cruz, and I would take pictures for my like demo reels and stuff. And it was my place to hang out at night by myself. I wasn't ghost hunting. I just felt it was the only place I could hang out and just have peace and quiet. And, most people kind of shy away from them. So this was before ghost hunting and stuff. So it was just my happy place. But now I realize that, there's pictures that have been taken of ghosts and things hanging out. But I feel that ultimately the deceased, if they go to the right place, which is up, should be up and not hanging out at the graveyard. So I really don't feel that they're haunted per se. I know that there's activity there, but it's definitely not the go-to place to look for ghosts for me.
Right.
I know other people
go
swear
ahead, I'm
by
sorry.
them. No, I'm just saying other people swear by them. It's not really where my go-to for ghosts.
Right. So what kind of things do you think, you don't think that humans, when they die, that their soul still sticks around in cemeteries?
No, who would? There's no energy there. It's boring. It's dead. Cemeteries for me are, I tell people, if you want to have a place to put flowers, a place to go and talk to somebody, but if you just set up a little shrine or something small at the house, they will come there and visit with you a lot more than they will over in a tombstone. It's gray, it's cold, it's miserable. There's no energy there. So if people do capture ghosts and things at graveyards, I feel it's more lingering lost souls, literally, trying to just walk around. It's more ghosts. But your loved ones, grandma, all your favorite people are going to be up in the universe, or they're going to be hanging out at your home. You're not going to see them. You're just going to feel them. So that's what I try to tell my clients. You will feel them. If you see your loved ones, they didn't cross over and they're stuck here. So you just want to feel them. Whether it's warmth or maybe goosebumps, electricity on your body, that's how you should interact with your loved ones down here.
Right. So what about things like you and I were talking before, and Steph actually on our team, Sim, came up with supernatural ickies that usually hang out in there, which are like shadow people, or, like for shadow people, do you think shadow people, are they good? They bad? Really, nobody really knows.
I'm starting because I've studied a lot of footage on YouTube and whatever. And I chased a shadow person when I was up in Sacramento with my team, and he was running away from me. And once I realized, because I chased him over a fence and he jumped over the fence, and I was like, where did he go? I was like, oh my God, I just chased my first shadow person. They are very, very curious. They're always seen peering around the doorways and things and hiding. So I'm starting to put together that there's some sort of entities that are kind of mischievous. They're very inquisitive and curious about us, and that's why they kind of keep their distance. They're always looking around or at the foot of the stairs. So there's some sort of like little, I wouldn't say gnome-like beings, but there's some sort of mass of blackness and darkness that likes to spy on us and kind of give us a fright. But I chased one myself hundreds of yards and it disappeared. So they seem, because if this thing was bad, it would have turned around and come at me, but it ran away from me. So I do feel that they're a little bit frightened of us, but yet curious enough to show themselves just enough that we go, oh, shadow person, and then that's it.
Right. Do you think possibly, or do you know, or anything like that, like they could be messengers, guardian messengers of a cemetery? See, these are a lot of things that people are asking me to ask you, they're there to give warnings.
I'm not quite sure What? I mean, I don't think they're a messenger of the light. I'm not sure. I just feel like there's some sort of being in between worlds that are able to. So some of the footage I've seen, which was strange when it was slowed down, there was poltergeist activity and the drawers were opening up and this woman had all these things happen. And when I was slowing the video down, you can actually see a shadow person thing go over and open the drawers and then jump on the desk and knock something over. So they may be the cause of some of the poltergeist activity if they're able to take these forms and shapes, because they can morph with hands and they can actually morph into things. So I do believe that there's shapeshifters that can manifest hands and things. This may be actually what's touching us and causing the little tap on your shoulder, because they are able to morph and make hands and things. But I do believe that they're behind a lot of the poltergeist activity. It's just...
So they can move through dimensions, possibly.
Yes, interdimensional beings. Because they're always faceless. They have, just legs, arms, a head. But, I mean, that's it. There's no clothing. There's no features. So these beings have a lot of similarities that I just feel that... But as more and more people are reporting them and catching them on tape, they just seem to go in and out. And then some of them, even I saw one disappear and just like kind of break apart. So I feel that it's molecularly able to form. And then when they break apart, that might be when they go to the next realm or the other dimension. Where they come from, I don't know. The jury's out on, to me, whether they're bad or good. They don't seem to hurt us, but they sure are very involved in being interactive with us. And then they disappear so quick. So, and then it's gone. So I don't think they can stay here that long. That might be why they may not have enough energy to stay that long, because the interactions are always so short and they disappear. So maybe they don't have enough power to stay in this realm and they have to disappear and go into the realm where they do stay more.
Right. Okay, Stephanie has a question for you in the chat room. Does Valentina see the healing of the veil between the worlds anytime soon? It's so thin, almost not there now because of all the death. It's really been rent open by all of it. Been rent open? I don't think she meant rent. Kept open, maybe. Bent open. Yeah, bent, maybe. We'll put a B where the R was.
Okay. Well, it's I can only speak for myself, Steph, because I feel like my awakening and my consciousness is moving at such a rapid rate, my ascension, that I'm losing so much interest in this world, if that makes sense. Like being part of it. I spend very little. I'm probably here 10% of the time just to like get the mail and pay my bills. And then most of the time I just live in another zone, if you will. I spend more time thinking about interstellar beings, other things like that. It's really hard for me to relate to people. So something has happened in the last few months where I'm vibrating quicker, and I'm like, is this getting faster and faster? Are we getting close to something happening? Because I don't know what's happening, but there's definitely been a shift the last few months for me, and I'm trying to have some introspective time to understand what is going on. But, I definitely have shifted into what I needed as a human into more like, I think I need to move somewhere remote, off the grid, and just really spend time with nature. And like a lot of stuff here doesn't interest me anymore. Before I tolerated it. But so I think something is happening. But the veil is only going to be thin for those people that, are there and can see through it. The rest of the people who are asleep are unfortunately going to miss out, and life just carries on as normal. But if you're not evolving and vibrating as quickly as possible for yourself, then you're going to miss the boat.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And not you in general, but you as a third person.
Right. Now, Kat was saying, I seen a shadow critter, she calls them. It seemed to accidentally pop up into here and left as soon as I saw it, like it was scared. So that, and then Steph's got the the explaining what she meant by that.
Oh,
So there you go.
yes. Yeah.
Renny Nortarian slit fissure. Okay. Now I get it. Sorry, Steph.
Good question. That was good.
Yeah. I remember the first time I seen a shadow person. It was up northern Minnesota. And it was so funny because Steph and Katie were trying to get our equipment together. And so I thought, well, I'm going to walk around. So I walked around in this one building that we were investigating, had my flashlight going around. I thought, geez, that looks like a man standing there. Put my flashlight directly on it, and it lightened it a little bit and stuff. Then all of a sudden it turned to the side and started walking away. And I flipped out. I couldn't believe it. I thought I was going to pass out right there, I quickly ran out, and I ran to the building that Steph and Katie were in, and they were trying to get a DVR system put together. And I'm like, you guys aren't going to believe what I just seen. I was just like, I was fuming at the mouth. I mean, I couldn't believe what I had seen and stuff. And neither one of them really cared what I was talking about. And they're like, Chad said that this thing was going to be easy to put together, and I can't figure it out. And it's like, I seen a shadow person, you guys, in the next building, but they were it was so funny. So funny. Let's see what else we got here. Steph, I get that. And yes, there has been a shift, but I also feel that we are seeing so many spirits, ghosts, and past couple years because of the no veil. That could be, I mean, with all the deaths that are going on and stuff like that, not bringing up COVID, but I brought it up and stuff. Do you think that there's a buildup of possible paranormal activity that could start from all of this within the last 2 years?
Well, I think, there's two things going on. The veil is getting thinner, but I think also they had to prepare the humans, whether it's UFOs, Bigfoot, all these sightings have become more rampant because I don't think we were ready for it back then. We live in a society where, we've got video, everybody's surveilling things. We're a little bit more open to things now. We're a little bit more lax as humans. So we're more accepting of everything. So at this point, I feel like we as humans were more ready for it. So the aliens, the Bigfoot, everybody's like, hey, okay, we can start coming out and showing ourselves. And so we're moving towards this maybe integration as we become a one world society with cryptocurrency and all this stuff going on. I feel like there with interdimensions and beings, our interactions are going to start being more of a solid thing and a regular thing as we all accept each other. And then all hell's going to break loose as everyone starts breeding.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, we're going to create all sorts of one world race millions of years from now. But I also think that the Earth is slowly destroying itself. Not to be a Debbie Downer or a Karen, but the world is slowly destroying it. It won't happen for a couple of 100 years, hopefully, but we'll all be wiped out by then. But I feel like the Earth is starting to self-destruct as well, to do a big do-over.
I do believe that, too. I think climate change has already shown its ugly head. And, the only people that have to be really held accountable for it is us. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, everything was like, plastic. Oh, my gosh. Greatest thing in the world. Everything came in plastic. Food was so fresh and everything, but they didn't think about the amount of plastic and how we're really going to dispose of it. And
right.
That's something that really, really hurt us, right there. Bic lighters, they were disposable. We can just throw that away and buy another one, and it's like, Zippos, I thought, were always cooler.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
use them over and over again and stuff. But I don't know. It's throwaway society happened then, and so now we're going to suffer for it. I mean, it's so funny because the place I work at, this liquor store, everything is paper. You have paper bags and stuff. People come in and say, "Are you serious? You don't have plastic?" No, we've got paper bags, and right on it says that they are recycled.
Right.
So it's recycled paper. It's good for the environment. And the place that I work at is huge on recycling.
Oh, I love
if
that.
you got plastic, it's put here. Cardboard gets put here. Aluminum cans, if people bring them in, we have them put here. It's pretty cool. Well, listen, it is time for a break. So everyone, we will be right back in about 2 minutes, and we'll see you soon.
Hey, Steph.
Hey, it's a Taffy Tuesday today, Heidi.
Taffy Tuesday. I don't know, Steph. That's kind of a stretch.
Well, we want to give everyone something to chew on.
Tune in to the Gathering Radio Show Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern on Para X Radio.
Are you haunted by shadow people in the middle of the night?
Do you secretly love all things creepy and spooky, enjoying ghost stories and horror fiction from the best storytellers?
Do you have a true ghost experience you want to share, but no one will believe you?
If yes, listen to the professionals on What Are You Afraid Of? Horror Paranormal Show Friday nights at 9 p.m. on Para X Radio and at www.whatareyouafraidofpodcast.com.
What Are You Afraid Of on Para X?
Our creepy and demented hosts are on call to provide you with all your spooky needs with true ghost stories, interviews, indie music, and new horror fiction. We are ready to scare you.
Para X.
Hey, this is Lee from the Dead Zone. I want to give a huge shout out to Shauna and congratulations on her new podcast, Exploring the Paranormal Perspective. You'll hear some amazing guests like me,
Whatever.
paranormal and true crime stories, and more. Catch her Wednesdays at 8 Central on the Para X Radio Network.
Whether you're listening at home, at work, or anywhere, thanks for making Para X part of your day. Your source for everything paranormal, Para X.
And we're back. This is Jerry and Valentina, and we are back to do the rest of the show. Cool. Again, Kimberly is not here. It's really sad, actually. Wait a minute, hold on. Could this be him? No, she's not able to make it complete. We were hoping that she'll be able to make it by break. So tomorrow, if you have missed the show and you want to hear what's going on, the show will be put on both our website, www.thecallingradioshow.com, and on our YouTube channel, The Calling Radio Show. Now, we have been video recording this tonight. So on the YouTube channel, it will be you will see us. You will see Valentina and her wild hair that is attacking as look at there you go. You guys, right now, you guys are just going to have to picture it, but wait till tomorrow, you'll see it. Also, too, I wanted to talk about, that I always do the MMWI, the the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women. And so I just put a flyer up for Kenlyn Megan West. She was missing in Vancouver, British Columbia, and it happened on Wednesday, January 5th, 2022. If you do see her, take a look around. If you hear her name or anything like that, please notify Vancouver Police Department. Also, I know a lot of people are saying that, Valentine's Day is coming up, which I think is Monday, isn't it? Valentina? Is that Monday or Tuesday?
Why are you asking me? Just because my name is Valentina.
Oh, well, no, that had nothing to do with it, smart aleck. Anyway, is that, a lot of people think that it's just a Hallmark holiday, and that could be it. But also it has a double meaning. On February 14th, everybody's encouraged to wear red, and that is for the murdered and missing, or the missing and murdered Indigenous women, and orange for the lost children of the residential schools. It's now almost over 8,000 children that have been found at this school. So to support them and to support the missing and murdered Indigenous women, red on Valentine's Day and orange on the same. So, like I said, keep a look around, and you never know. You never know. You might know somebody or anybody's listening. So keep it going. Also, too, hey, Para X, listen to me here, people. It is like the coolest thing for paranormal shows that you could possibly find. So if you're sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, I don't really have nothing to do tonight, there's nothing on Netflix I want to see, then what should you do? You should go to Para X and listen to some of this stuff that people talk about. I mean, you've got the Gathering, which is on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on Para X. Stephanie and Heidi have a great time. After our show tonight, of course, you have Shawnakins, Shauna with Geeks Paranormal, and Lisa, listen to her. She's pretty cool. Sometimes it makes more sense if you drink like a bottle of wine before you listen to her show. I'm kidding. I love Shauna. She's awesome. But yet I think she'll agree with that. Anyway, no, there's so many other great shows. Every day there's something really special on there, so you should check it out. Okay, now back to Valentina. Okay, kid. So, we were talking, what was the last thing we were talking about? We were talking about the shadow people, stuff like that, right? Oh, that's okay. So Steph had mentioned, or somebody had mentioned about, portals and stuff like that. Do you feel that when it comes to not just shadow people, but there's Steve B. Finally, Steve, you come to see your favorite friend, Valentina. Like Bigfoot, UFOs, do you think that they can travel through dimensions like that? Do you think the whole supernatural and supernatural and paranormal can actually move through vortexes and portals and stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
And yes, I do. I didn't before because I had, I knew demons and bad things can get through portals, but I wasn't really thinking until even like the shadow people. I'm starting to wonder if, because all of a sudden they just disappear. It's, some sort of dematerialization is going on, or they are going through a portal. But I'm definitely starting to think that there's a lot of portal travel going on, whether that's, time travelers, a lot of strange things going on. And I think because of the emergence of all these cameras, everybody's able to catch a lot more on tape because it's turned people into more believers, because before we had to rely on seeing something in person, but a lot of stuff goes on at night or when we're sleeping or in the forest. And so having all these cameras and trail cams and things really helps capture the things that we've been missing. And so now it's turned this world into a world of people being more open to like, oh, something else is going on. Something's happening when I'm sleeping. Something is going on in the backyard. Because now we're finally starting to capture things. And with that awareness, we can start raising the consciousness of everyone, because now people are more open to it and not so myopic.
Wow. Yeah, so when everything's open more and stuff like that, do you think that how can we close it? I mean, is it something that just naturally happens? It's not up to us to be the ones to close it or anything like that?
I think they open and close at leisure.
What's that? Oh, we lost Valentina. Hold on, people. She will, I'm sure, materialize here. Interesting.
Move around.
Oh, there you are.
Oh, there you are.
You froze. You froze. You did. You froze up. So go ahead.
Let it go. Let it
go. Not that kind. So go ahead. Say what you were saying again. I'm sorry.
Well, I do believe it was somewhere in between turning the portal on and off at their leisure. But I also think that they're not one set portal. I think they can move that portal wherever they need. It's kind of a combination of a marble, the marble where they make the little fire thing, and a combination of the Matrix where people are creating a portal wherever they need to, and just like a quick escape route.
Okay. I agree with that.
You don't have to.
Well, no, I do. I do agree with that. Yeah. Okay, now we're going to switch over to a little bit visitations. Like I was kind of explaining to you that every year for the past 4 years, I've always had a visitation from my mother, which comes on 3/27 of every year, and that's coming up. And, visitations, you were saying, because I told you that it's physical. I mean, I can see her where she's here, but you were saying that's more, not really a visitation, but more of a apparition.
Yes.
Explain that difference again.
Okay, so my findings, my own opinion from experiences, is that when people pass, normally before they pass, they might come through in a dream, or shortly after they pass, they will come through. It's not so much a dream, it's more really an actual visitation, projecting themselves in and maybe warning somebody, hey, I'm going to pass soon. So, and usually from what I've heard, the next day, somebody's like, yeah, I had a dream about my grandmother, and then the next day I got a phone call, she passed. It's a way that they project so that they can actually have a last. They may not even be able to speak at this point because they're so close to stepping over that they will just send a message. Or they pass and they want immediately somebody to know down here that they are okay and they made it safely, usually before they get to a medium. I will get my clients telling me a lot of stories about, hey, yeah, she came to me after she passed or before. So that's a normal thing. So once you pass, you should shed your body and your soul should go up into the universe, and then karma and recycling and all that starts all over again. However, if you're having visitations from a loved one down here, they're pretty much, like I told you, stuck between two worlds, because you shouldn't see them. You're either a soul that went up there and then you're done. You shouldn't see any visuals down here. Or if you do see visuals and they're gone, then they are a ghost and they're stuck. But for your case, I feel like your mom is more in between. So at some point, I would like to see her crossed over so that you could connect to her on that level instead of having her stuck here, because nobody should be stuck down here or seen here once they pass. That's always a ghost, and that means that they're stuck.
I thought when someone passes that, when they reach heaven or wherever that they go to and stuff, that they have free reign to be able to come back to visit someone.
Yeah, but it shouldn't. I've never, ever seen anyone come back in a physical. You can come back, you can zip around because now you're energy, so you can zip around in any way that you want to. You can be here, you could be there, you could be simultaneously places, but you shouldn't be in a physical body because you left that body. Remember, your soul separated from your body, so your body should stay here and your soul should separate. Your body should not be in the universe, and I mean, one cannot go to the other place. This is a separation that must happen. So anytime you're seeing anybody in a physical body, like I said, the other thing could be that it's an imprint of it. But either way, those two should always separate, and then that should be it.
Okay, but can't spirits, when they come back, like in this case, can't they pretty much come to a physical form that you can actually, how do you say it, that you can actually see, so that you know exactly who it is and stuff? I mean, do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. I mean, there have been cases where people, like a friend went to take a picture, and in the reflection behind her in the window pane was her grandmother. And she's like, I'm like, yeah, I mean, how do I explain that? That's very odd. All I can, here's what's weird, because, I mean, it's such a tricky thing, because once we die, that lifetime is over. But there is also such a thing as energy never dies. So it might be a recording of your previous life, almost like a hiccup or something left over. So I don't really think her grandmother was here and showed up in that picture. I think the energy was so strong, it's like an imprint, a recording of the grandmother.
I kind of see what you're talking about there.
Do you know? And you have to kind of go through the rabbit hole for that one. But I think when we do see ghosts and things, it's more of a recording. It's a leftover imprint, because that time and energy already left. We're the only ones that believe in that time. So that time already ended here. So if it's anything that's going on, it's coming from the universe that doesn't believe in time.
Okay, gotcha.
But down here, that life, when it ends. So there shouldn't be anything. Right. It's kind of like if you blew out a candle, right? There's that lingering smoke afterwards.
Right.
The candle is out, but we're going to have a little bit of that smoke for a while, because the candle is still sort of remembering what it did before, which was burn. So that's my own, that's just how I feel from doing this and mm-hmm. channeling so many people that are deceased and hearing stories and looking at photos and trying to put together my own theory. But I definitely feel that it's two different types of energies. Some that are stuck down here and the others that go up.
Right. And to know for sure, we'll know once we pass, right? Then we'll know exactly what's happening. And then some of us might be sitting there going, oh my God, really? And then others might be like, no, that's not what I said.
Well, that's why I try to ask, whenever I'm doing readings, I try to sneak in a personal question of my own in my head to ask the deceased, what's it like up there? What are you doing? So far, all I've found out that death is a long tunnel, and it's boring and it's dark. So we don't just immediately float up and everything. We go through a very, very long, boring tunnel, and then we come out and it's really, really bright. So it is a journey. What that means is that they're going through literally, I'm not going to call it a wormhole, but for lack of better words, we are going through some sort of wormhole to go back up to the universe. So there is a journey.
Gotcha. Oh, I do. That's good. Okay, Steve's asking a question, but Steve was late and he's not feeling well. So let's give him a couple-minute answer. What do you think of different dimensions?
Well, definitely they exist. We're in the third dimension, I believe. So it's weird because when I first started, really getting into this mediumship stuff and I was getting my awakening, I was like, how many dimensions are there? So there's 8 or 9 or maybe even 12 dimensions. But what's crazy, so for me to do what I have to do, I actually have to elevate myself to the 5th dimension. So Jesus and everybody else is in the 9th or 12th dimension. But I was like, oh my God. So I've surpassed the earth realm dimension, and I'm able to go a few more levels out to do what I do. But I'm definitely working on training my brain to push further. I would like to get into some other dimensions and see what else subconsciously, higher consciously that I can reach. But I can go as far as the 5th, but there are more. But I mean, it's a lot of intensive training. So I do think of different dimensions, but anybody can do it, but you really have to master getting in a trance and achieving all that and pushing yourself to get out that far. But I know for a fact I get to the 5th one because that's where the souls are. All the people, the past are in the 5th dimension. So that's how I can gauge where I'm at. But anything out, the 4th dimension, I think that's where the aliens are. It's written somewhere if you Google the dimension, and it says where everything exists. So we're like only in the 3rd, or maybe even only in the 2nd. We're pretty low on the dimension graph there. But then we got UFOs out in the next one, and it talks about where everything exists. So if you're making contact with something in those dimensions, then you pretty much have trained your brain to go that far.
Right. Steve saying string theory says are 16 dimensions.
Okay, I was way off. No, I've got a lot more work to do. I need to get an elevator.
So what was the question I had for you? Oh, shoot. And we were talking, and I said, okay. So last night on the gathering, they were talking about UFOs and stuff. Now, what do you feel is really going on? Because now all of a sudden, all these UFOs and the government saying, yes, there has been. Do you feel that we really have made contact?
We made contact a long time ago. It's just that everyone was hiding it. And once I have to blame cameras and dash cams and all this. Now there's no denying it. And so I think the humans are getting a little smarter and starting to question authority or any situation. Nobody's just taking flat out the answers they're getting and being fed BS anymore. So I feel like everyone is starting to question things, to stand up, to really dig deeper, search for the truth. So I keep going back to, I think it's time. When the aliens came in the 1940s, we weren't really ready for it. With our mind expanding and our consciousness opening up more, we're more ready for it. We're not shocked. In fact, now we're hungry for it. We want to make that connection with Bigfoot, UFOs, elves, whatever. So we had to be ready for it. So now that they feel more comfortable, that we're not going to shoot them down when they come into our area, we can start working on a language and communicating, and now we can all start, building houses, building UFOs, whatever we need. We can learn from each other,
Right.
We're very simple. We're simple race, so there isn't much to learn from us, but we can certainly learn a lot. Have a hamburger. But we bring you hamburgers. No, but we can definitely learn a lot from other people, the other races and the other beings. So I think it's more for our advantage.
Right. Okay, now, so you are an accomplished diver. You love sharks. You swim with sharks and all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What's your thought, or have you ever thought when you're underwater and stuff, of mermaids?
Oh, wow. That's the first question ever. Well, when I go down there, because that's my happy place, and I'm like, God, if I could just have a big tank that had like an enormous amount of air and I could just stay down here for a few days, I would live down here. And then I think, wow, I wonder what it's like to be a mermaid if they exist. Yeah, that's a tough one. It's like when people ask me about fairies. I'm like, until I see one, that's a really hard one for me to go with. I mean, somewhere somebody must have seen one in order for it even to be a conversation. But I don't know. Mermaids, I think we like to think that they exist, but I'm really not. I'm not buying the mermaid thing. Oh my God.
What about fairies, though? Do you believe that there's a possibility? I mean, anything there is a possibility in it.
Or the other thing is, if enough people, actually what I read is if enough people believe in something, we can think it into existence. So did fairies actually exist, or did somebody start the concept of that and we made it a reality? So there's a mind bender right there. And that goes for anything, you know, unicorns. Did anyone ever, or did somebody one day imagine it? And enough, if you talk about something enough, it eventually does exist, you know?
Right. You know, it's funny you should say unicorns. When I was a kid, well, no, this is no kidding. When I was a kid, I remember Mom telling me there is unicorns, but they're not horse-like. And I said, what? She said, it's cow. I thought, cow? And so we went to her sister's house, my aunt, Pat, and her husband, Wally. And I remember when we got there, I totally forgot about this until, you know, I mentioned, or you said something about that. But they actually had a cow that had a birth defect. And it was only born with one horn. And the horn was not straight out, but was off to the side, coming out of the middle of its forehead. And they said, that's what unicorns are. And I loved that cow. That cow was awesome, but it was mean, you know, and stuff. And then one day I didn't see it anymore. Yeah. And then one day I didn't see it anymore and stuff. And I think it was a while later is when I was told, but you ate it. And it's like, what?
Wow.
It's like, oh God, you know. But then they also had one too that had a birth defect, and it actually had a face of a monkey.
Oh, jeez.
That was the most gross, disturbing thing I have ever seen in my entire life.
I don't even want to go there. That's some sort of mutant.
Yeah, pretty much.
Laboratory accident there. Yeah. Well, no, I mean, but living in Alaska, we had narwhals, which is a whale with a horn on it.
Oh, the narwhal.
Yeah, narwhal, yeah. And so, I mean, there is that possibility. There was something with a unicorn horn like that. So, you know, there is somewhere, maybe.
Well, you got rhinos.
Right. I mean, there is the possibility that something emerged from that, you know, genetically.
Yeah.
But, I mean, going back to the fairies, again, I like to go to the forest a lot and sit there, and there is something magical about sitting in the forest. You know, it feels like you go to the beach, okay, there's the waves, there's the sand, it's the same over and over again. But there's something different about going to a forest because, you know, there's so much under the forest floor. There could be stuff hiding in the trunks. It feels a lot more magical. And I like to think when I'm there that maybe there are little tiny beings that run off when, you know, and hide under a little mushroom cap when you know, walk in there. So that to me is one of those mysteries that, you know, we may never know. Nobody's ever going to see one, but we like to entertain the idea that maybe there are little dwarves and elves and little fairies in there watching over. I think that's more like, again, like Ireland and Scotland, you know, those kind of places have a little bit more of that folklore as well.
Right. Well, we need to go there.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Well, we
need to go there in search of our own show, in search of, you know, to kind of steal that from. So if we're coming to the end of the show here, less than a minute left. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way to do it?
Well, you can just Google me. It's not that hard to find. I seem to be all over the internet. Of course, find it through Jerry's page, Facebook, Instagram. You know. Yeah.
Sounds good.
I can put all that down there.
Sounds good. All right. Well, listen, we're at the end of the show and everything. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Para X. Thank you, Sarge. You're the best. And we appreciate it. And we'll see you all next week.